understand why they said he did, but that's a good take. I don't hate it. The Noah Kim thing is interesting because we talked about this last night. Noah Kim looks really comfortable out there. Again, I don't think he's part of the QB process, but I don't think they're scared to play him. I think he's been a real surprise as somebody they like a lot, and they want to keep as part of their program and see where it develops. But I don't think they fear needing to use him in a spot situation this year.
Ryan Schultz up next, number 1. If they figure out the tight end position, this will be MSU's best passing offense since 2014. 2, the LSJ should pay a high school sophomore minimum wage to proofread Graham's columns. Clean it up, Couch.
Thank you, Ryan. That's very kind of you.
Wow.
Yeah. There were a couple mistakes, and don't worry, I got the text from my mom. I woke up this morning that said, couple small edits. Jesus, Mom, thanks. But usually with the quick takes that happens because they're written really quickly, and they're not. And even last night they go up before they're proofed, and even sometimes before I did. And last night, since I wasn't in such a rush, I probably should have given a cleaner look. But that usually, if you see mistakes in quick takes, it's because the whole idea of them is they're going up at the horn. I don't have a lot of time to read them through. And sometimes they haven't even been back read yet.
I feel like you have to put a disclaimmer in there now. 3 quick takes, and I didn't check for punctuation. Yeah. Shit, what do you want from the guy?
Yeah, usually they're
supposed to be quick,
relatively clean. To the tight end, I think they're going to be, they're very young there. There are some questions. That's why you're starting to see Connor Hayward at that position. They're going to use him in certain ways. It is a position, I think, while there's talent and they like the young talent, it could also this particular year be a weakness that doesn't help them.
All right, Jay from North Coast Wealth Management. Love Jay. Number 1, American football should be called tackle ball. During each game, 2 to 4 players out of the 106 to use one of their feet, a total of roughly 10 times per game. But yet it's called football. Tackle ball is far more accurate description. 2, Hollywood is really scraping the bottom of the superhero barrel lately. We will have a Wonder Twins and Gleek movie by 2025.
You remember Gleeking? What was the
Gleek? Like when you spit?
Yeah.
That's a movie?
No, he's joking. He's just saying this will be like, this is how far it'll fall.
Jesus. Brett Butler. 3, the girl Wonder Twin had way better powers, turning into any animal versus her brother's stupid ability to turn into a bucket of water.
I miss it. What am I missing here? Is this a Spider-Man, this new Spider-Man movie or something? This must be. Because a lot of people are talking. Yeah,
guy,
I know I'm the wrong guy.
But turning into a bucket of water, do you reappear though? It'd be all right.
Yeah, as long as
you'd see a bucket of water right now.
But what happens if somebody throws it down a drain?
Yeah, but are you dead?
A lot of questions.
You need to watch this movie.
A lot of questions. If you have questions about your finances, about investing for retirement, about Social Security benefits, saving for your college education, or anything investment related, let Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management help. These guys are Spartans, 95 grads. I think you're going to like them a lot. Gotten to know them a little bit. And it doesn't matter where you live. While they're in Michigan, they have clients all over the country. Distance doesn't scare them. You can find them online at northcoastwm.com or give them a call, 248-626-2000, or email them, info@northcoastwm.com for a free consultation. Let them know Couch and the Rube sent you.
Bo McJunkin's up next. Number 1, Brian Lewerke would have started in the NFL if not for his shoulder injury. 2, Jeremy Langford not cutting it in the pros still surprises me. He was the ultimate finisher. And 3, he got paid, but Le'Veon stayed with the Steelers. He would eventually made more money.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is one of the was Melvin Gordon's the other one, right? Those are the 2 guys who screwed themselves by fighting the financial battle that you're just not going to win as a running back. Very few of Ezekiel Elliott's like the one guy who really did. Very few of those
Le'Veon
guys.
Still got paid, and you got to sit out a season.
Yeah, and so maybe
career.
Yeah, but it changed his whole career. Yeah, and look, T.J. Duckett is a great example of this. T.J. Duckett did not have the sort of career that I thought he was going to have coming out of Michigan State. Just kind of an athletic freak, unbelievable. Just, he had a couple good years. But T.J. Duckett's also a guy who in his late 30s as a former NFL running back, as a bruising running back, can still, physically he isn't as beat up as he would have been. You know what I mean? Like that.
I think Duckett still had a great career though
with
Atlanta.
Career.
I mean, the average expectancy for a player to play, especially at running backs, 3 to 4 years.
Right.
And I think I still think he had a decent career. Ken Chu up next. Number 1, Monday's show was a dumpster fire. 2, the workie looked better than a dumpster fire. And 3, dumpsters blocking your driveway are ass.
Agree with all of these. And Brian Lewerke looked good playing for the Giants. And I don't know. I mean, roster situation, it doesn't seem like he's. But, there's a chance he plays himself onto there. At least, I think if you're Brian Lewerke, what you're trying to do is have them re-sign you to the practice squad and be part of their organization and have them get a longer look at you. I mean, obviously, you'd love it where you did well enough and they cut the other guy. And that's what happened with Brian Hoyer years ago. He was the only backup for Tom Brady, undrafted free agent. And so it can happen. But you're just trying to, make it so they're intrigued by it and want to keep giving you a look.
I'd want to get away from the Giants organization. Almost as bad as the Lions.
You just want to be in the NFL if you're an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, we get it. Eric Ziegler up next. Number 1, Lions are trash. The sooner people write them off and find another team, the better. The Rams. 2, former MSU players, COVID/vaccination takes make it easy for social media unfollows. 3, social zones in cities should remain post-COVID. Having a drink and being able to wait for a table outside and wander around is the best.
It is cool. I think there are certain things we've discovered in the pandemic that we like, and one of those things is obviously you can't block off every street, but if you can have an area where you can walk around with a bag of liquor, it's pretty damn cool.
Like Vegas.
Yeah, and so I am definitely all for that and just extended outdoor eating, and yeah, I mean, I think they did that really well in East Lansing. They've done that downtown a lot of places. They did it well in Madison. I think if people like something, there's no reason to get rid of it just because the pandemic ends.
Now, Paulie's show is up next, and it's all in caps. Is this like I'm supposed to read it like an angry
no, I don't,
1-800-GAMBLE guy?
I don't think so.
Paulie show with us. Week 1, Big Ten underdog parlay. Illinois plus 6.5 at Nebraska. Minnesota plus 13.5 versus Ohio State. MSU plus 3 and a hook at Northwestern. Clocks in at plus 579. Call the number. Lock it in.
I don't like Minnesota plus 13.5 versus Ohio State.
Sure don't.
And I'm not saying that, like Minnesota, if they're back to what they were 2 years ago and Ohio State's got some turnover, I'm not saying it can't be competitive. But if I've got to choose which way and you're inside of 2 touchdowns, the other thing I love about the Ohio State line, and we'll get into our lines with Harry tomorrow for this weekend's games and some of our picks, is I love teasing Ohio State down to like a touchdown range. I really, really like that. Look, Minnesota took a massive step back last year, and I'm scarred by that because I think they looked awful. Illinois plus 6.5, kind of like at Nebraska. I think Nebraska's and Illinois are going to be comparable. And if you're going to go, to me, Michigan State plus 3.5, I actually think the best value will probably be on the money line.
Jim Harden up next. Number 1, saw the Pistons over-under at 25.5. Take the over and bet your house. Man. 2, Al Kaline is the greatest Tiger ever. He even has a battery named after him. And 3, MSU running back group will end up the best by season's end, overtaking the wide receivers bonus take. Did anyone else expect to see the dumpster on fire?
I was kind of expecting you to light something up later in the night and take a picture of it.
You thought I was going to do that? I tell you what, 2 years ago when I was still drinking, you would have saw a fire. There would have been a fire. That would have
been awesome. MSU's running back group will end this will be the best by the end of the season, overtaking the receivers. That I think it depends on health. I think if Jaden Reed and Jalen Naylor are healthy, that's not going to happen. I think those two are I don't know if they're special yet, but again, all Big Ten guys. Where the running back situation though is good because, like the quarterback situation, there's depth. And you watch Jordan Simmons run the ball and how much they like him. Like they've and I do think that they're probably only 3 deep. That the transfer from Auburn isn't quite where the other 3 are right now. But when you've got 3 running backs you like a lot, I think that's a really good position to be in. Also, that over-under with the Pistons, 25.5. At some point I need to talk to James about this because he thinks they're going to not be as good as I think they're going to be next year. I think they're going to be closer to 35 wins. But if you give me 25.5, I'm going heavy over just for the fun of being on the route for them all year. And if what they've got to hit is 26 wins, I like it a lot.
All right, Ryan Rockwell up next. Number 1, anything less than 6 wins this year is a disappointment for Tucker and MSU. He's getting paid way too much and bringing in too much talent to accept anything less. 2, the only thing that could ruin said expectation is lack of quality quarterback play. 3, football's back.
That's caught on, man. You should have got that on shirts. You should have branded that. You should have trademarked
Football's back.
Yeah.
5 A's and back.
So anything less than 6 wins is a disappointment for Tucker and MSU. Getting paid too much and bringing in too much talent to accept anything less. Do you feel, is that, like, if they win, if they go 5-7 this year.
Now, disappointing.
Here's what I'll say to that, though. It does depend on where the 5 wins come. I think a lot of people would, you give 5 wins and there are some games where they look, even if they blow some games, but if they beat Michigan and they win 5, and there's some progress, or they show some injuries, have some injuries and stuff, I think people would be okay with that.
But they did that last year.
They went 2-5 last year.
I understand, no, but they beat Michigan last year.
Right.
So I think people want the win against Michigan. They're expecting it now, and 6 wins at least. It would be a disappointment if there was anything less. That's his question, right?
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between, we're parsing words here, but disappointment, you can have a disappointing year, and it cannot be defining of a tenure. And I think that's fine, too. I think you go, I was kind of hoping they'd be better in this year. That's disappointing. I think, let's see if Tucker can get this going. I think that's a fair thing to say.
You remind me of my dad when he was talking to the principal when I was in his office.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
That word came from.
I mean, come on. We're mincing words here. I mean, he's not that bad. He's not that dumb. G.E. Miller.
No, before we get to G.E. Miller, I mean, like, disappointment is worse than punishment, right, to me. Like, I remember I had a truancy issue a little bit as a freshman in high school at Lansing Sexton. And my father once, my buddy Mike Horton and I used to go up to the old St. Lawrence Hospital and have breakfast in the cafeteria. It was good breakfast. And also, my dad left for work a little before 9. Like, we had an hour to kill. Like, we had to do something. We didn't have cars yet. We're freshmen. And we're going to go skip the day and, watch porn or something. And so we're coming back, walking down Jennison, and I thought my dad went a different way to work. He pulls up at the end of the block. And we're just standing there at like 9 o'clock in the morning. And I dove behind a car in a driveway to try to hide. My dad sees Mike. I'm sure he saw me. And he turns around and he talks to Mike, who tried to cover for us, but said he was like sick and was going to the hospital to call his mother. Like, it didn't make any sense. It was like 14-year-old logic. It was, anyway, so that night, my dad doesn't say anything after he gets home from work, during dinner, doesn't say anything about anything. We're just kind of going about it. I'm wondering if I got away with it. Then he calls me out on the porch that night and says, Graham, I just want to let you know you ruined my whole day. And I would have rather he hit me.
Was
like, you know what I mean?
A subscriber then?
It was like the worst. Yeah, it was. That's the worst to hear, like, you ruined my whole day. Like, the level of disappointment, and disappointment is the absolute worst. If you don't want to be disappointed, and that's a story we're telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, go to Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing. Great vibe, outstanding beer selection. Try the American Stout if you like that sort of a darker stout beer, and let us know what you think. Let them know Couch and the Rube sent you. And on Mondays, again, 20% off your tab.
All right, G.E. Miller with these 3. Number 1, great year for MSU football, 8-4 or better with top 20 recruiting classes. 2, good year for MSU football, 7-5 with top 30 recruiting class. Or 3, bad year for MSU football, 5-7 or worse with over 30 recruiting class.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. If they finish 5-7 in a recruiting class and the around 35, like, what separates them from who they were at the end of the D'Antonio era? Now, Tucker deserves time to correct that. But if they're 7-5 in the top 30 recruiting class, I think that's a really good year. I think the recruiting classes are sometimes more important than what happens on the field this year. That said, they brought in enough transfers. They talked about turning over the roster. And I think it is a great 8. I think every MSU football fan would sign up for 8-4, the top 20 recruiting class, and then some. And it wouldn't matter who it is. They would. I think MSU fans would even be able to weather a loss to Michigan if you gave them 8-4 in a top 20 recruiting class.
Silver Spring Spartan next. Number 1, Hunter Johnson's starter announcement is a trap. 2, Hunter Johnson's announcement is suspicious. 3, I'm overthinking Hunter Johnson's starter announcement.
So he is the Northwestern starting quarterback, and they made that call early, and Clemson transfer, who hasn't really been that impressive there. So, again, another guy I've got to kind of see to believe. Another reason that I wouldn't bet Northwestern is a favorite right now. Like, I just don't – I mean, he might be okay. This might be – and it takes time for guys to develop, but
does Fitzgerald have nothing else? I mean, to name a starter that early is kind of weird.
He must be their best guy, no
Yeah.
doubt. No doubt. They think he's going to be okay. I mean, they named Andrew Maxwell pretty early once, you know.
man.
And by the
Poor
way,
Andrew.
Andrew Maxwell in 2012 was not that bad early. I thought he was getting better every week. He lost confidence because his receivers had 66 drops that year and never really got it back.
Speaking of Andrew Gauthier up next. Number 1, Harold Joyner will lead MSU in total touchdowns this season. 2, watching tour pros hit inexplicably stupid shots during a big tournament is oddly reassuring. And 3, Charlie Kang's in downtown East Lansing is wildly underrated in the Lansing area food scene. Mongolian beef is amazing.
I have to check that out. So when you watch pros screw things up in a sport and do something that you might do you feel better?
I do.
Yeah.
I like having those tournaments to where those guys, I don't know what tournament he was talking about, because the one over the weekend that finished yesterday, those guys were shooting 63s. But I do like, when they have a U.S. Open, Bethpage Black, and watch those guys hit out of the rough. But you do want to watch those guys play unbelievably well sometimes.
I feel the same way with like a blown layup sometimes too. Like it makes me feel like, yes, that guy can't make a left-handed layup either.
Oh,
now,
I thought you were talking about the WNBA.
No. Although, not if I have money on the game, that sways it because then I'm just pissed off. But yeah, no, I'm the same way. It's good to see somebody who's a lead at something look pedestrian.
Newman up next. Number 1, the new Pfizer vaccine approval means the anti-vaxxers will need to drum up another stupid reason not to get vaccinated. My money is on something to do with black helicopters. 2, Miggy's 500th homer will be the high point of the season as we head into dreadful September. 3, Izzo has a better chance being interim president than interim AD, and we should be happy for it. Oh, that's it. I was about to read.
So I do think, the thing that Izzo could never be the interim president and the basketball coach. And I don't think he should be the interim AD and the basketball coach. I mean, those are intensely full-time jobs. Like, and I'm not saying.
And I think Izzo knew that. I think he was just kind of like, oh, shucks, all right, if you guys want me to do it.
And I do think he'd be, I don't know what he'd be as a president, but I think he'd be good as an athletic director. I think he's been around that place a long time, and he understands. And I even think there are some things in sort of new age world stuff that he gets. I think he'd be a good AD. I just don't think he can do both. And he has no intention of stopping coaching.
Gavin Haas up next. Number 1, David Blau will be the Lions starter halfway through the season. Oh boy. 2, COVID is ass. Finally felt like it was winding down, and then bam, variant after variant. 3, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have school starting next week, which means no more live listening. 4, Miggy's 500th was cool, but it would have been way cooler and more exciting if it happened 2 weeks ago.
So we got to address number 3 here. Gavin is 15, so he's going into sophomore year, maybe junior year.
You don't have an
earbud?
You can sneak an earbud in?
Yeah, no more live listening. Well, it depends what his like 5th hour or 6th hour classes are. We'll have to look into that and see what we can do. Yeah, no, it does. We love having you live, Gavin, and I wish I could just write you a note. I would do it. I know your dad also listens, and I feel like I might get in trouble if I wrote you a note.
He listens to the show. So
yeah.
His dad's cool.
Yeah, no, his dad's cool. Yeah, no, I guess you have to go back to class at some point. I think he must be going to a sophomore year. If Cabrera's had happened earlier at Comerica Park, better deal.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Toronto. I mean, they gave a nice Canadian clap, but it would have been a lot cooler at Comerica. Everybody's standing up for every at bat, but we kind of knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you some sort of earbuds that aren't visible.
Or you can just wait till after school and listen to the podcast.
Or which probably is
wherever
better
you get your podcasts.
Better for your education.
Yeah. Spartans forever. Number one, now that Miggy is at 500, he will not reach 550. 2, 0-17. Is that even possible for the Lions this year? And 3, it's about time a hurricane hits a northern state. Bonus take, Anatomy of a Murderer was filmed at Marquette and Big Bay.
Absolutely. So Spartans, if I had realized, this should have been the first take. No offense to Eric and Dominic.
In 15 minutes.
Yeah, Anatomy of a Murder, great movie. One of my favorite lines in that movie is when they talk about the big city attorney from Lansing. That's my favorite. I love that. Anatomy of a Murder, great movie. Jimmy Stewart, is this attorney. Anyway, great movie.
Where's Jimmy Stewart?
It's a Wonderful Life. It's anyway. Fantastic movie. Filmed in Marquette and Big Bay. I just love that part of the year. But they don't need a hurricane. 0-17. Will it happen for the Lions this year?
I hope not. I would sprinkle some money on it happening, though.
If they get to 0-15, will you be rooting for it?
No.
Okay.
I could never do that. I don't want another 0 for season. I can't handle it. I went through one.
Yeah. Cabrera hits 550? It's tough to know.
I don't.
Because what's that? At least 2 more years, at least. Three probably at his rate.
Yeah, 50 more, depending on what he does the rest of the season. Yeah. Maybe hits 5 more. I don't know.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Spawn of stout sponsors up next. Number 1, the leading running back at MSU this year will have 1,000 yards rushing, but will not be the running back leader in touchdowns scored. 2, Graham is wrong about many things, but he's not wrong about the Border Grill in Marquette. This take brought to you by Travel Tips with Graham. Looking for hot dog recommendations in Kalamazoo? Burger recommendations in Pig's Knuckle, Illinois? Graham has you covered.
Border Grill in Marquette.
Oh, shit, there's another one.
That's fantastic.
3, anti-maskers are ass. This take brought to you by Hawaii Spa. Looking to release frustrations on your Tuesday lunch break? Well, with a mask, you can do during 2 for Tuesdays at Hawaii Spa. Use the code #Rube's Wedding Reception for 10% off.
Outstanding stuff.
What about that, though? HJs for vaccinations?
Whatever gets us
Someone
there.
on board?
Whatever gets us there. I'm all there. Border Grill, by the way, Marquette. Fantastic place. The Border Grill sauce is so good. Yeah. Border Grill and Hawaii Spa. Maybe that's a combination. We could, it's sort of like
in Marquette. They got one up there.
It's sort of like the trifecta with Costanza, where he's having like a salami sandwich, watching TV, and having sex at the same time. If you could eat Border Grill sauce, why getting a rub and tug at Hawaii Spa? Is that not living the life?
Rub and tug. That is living the life. I don't know. Rub and tugs. I can do that myself. Greg Hardwick. I don't know. Does he have a number 1? It's deleted or something?
Oh, shit. Does it say 2?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. Hold on.
Well, we'll do number 2 first.
Okay.
NBC's Olympic coverage was ass because you could never figure out what events were actually on. I was only able to watch golf live. By the way, the golf competition was excellent for both men's and women's. 3, Cabrera is the new Mr. Tiger. Well, that depends on who you ask. You ask some old-timers, they'll probably jump over the table and try to choke you out.
Yeah.
Al Kaline's
okay.
Mr. Tiger.
Let me.
And number 1, Graham has.
Yeah, hold on. I think I might have it here.
Tried reading slow.
Well, no, it didn't show up either here. It went straight to
Well, then
2.
he's got 2.
Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Thanks for your patience. We won't be long now.
Ah, it's 2. Mother.
We're dropping MFers now?
This has happened before with things. It's a Twitter problem. It's not. It's definitely not user error on yours or my end. Refused to exist, but writing right up into my rectum, and it was painful. All right, we're gonna have to go with those 2. I apologize. I don't see. I don't know why it's not popping up, and I don't know how I missed it the first time. Yeah. To me, Cabrera is. I mean, I understand there are lots of people you could say, but you have to move to different eras, and certainly of the last 40 years, he's Mr. Tiger.
Yeah, and you have to win a World Series, right?
That's the thing.
Maybe to be Mr. Tiger.
There's an argument. There's an argument there. Yeah.
Mike Clockey up next. Number 1, 600 homers if Cabrera had played all those Tiger years at Yankee Stadium.
Probably right. I mean, he's not a home run guy, or a lot of parks in Houston or Boston. I mean, he's an opposite field guy, and it's a little league park there in right field. I mean, there are so many records that probably ought to be reconsidered based on some of the dimensions of these parks.
ZJ up next. Number 1, Miguel Cabrera is the greatest hitter of the 2000s. Discuss. I mean, the only other challenger would be Pujols, right? I mean, 2012 Triple Crown, end it.
Yeah,
that wraps it up, right?
And Pujols was
Ichiro,
and Pujols really, I think, fell off a cliff more than Cabrera did. Like Pujols at one point was in that argument. Yeah, I think Cabrera is probably
Triple Crown, 2012.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
It happened like 7 times.
And just the way he uses all fields, the way it's just one of the scariest hitters.
Miggy's still intimidating at the plate at his age now. That's how great of a hitter he is.
And I think if you were to ask pitchers who spent the bulk of their career in the 2000s plus, they would say that, probably.
Vanzi up next. Number 1, the Tigers are honoring Miggy on September 24th. Makes me wonder if he won't be back next year. 2, Jack Morris's suspension is just an attempt to ruin his chances of winning Pick the Stick.
I hate that game.
He still plays at home. 3, Holly Needencore is Holly Saunders.
Right, the MSU golfer. Yes.
She changed her name.
What she want to get married to.
She's hot. Bonus, Gabe Brown and Malik Hall are doing a paid autograph signing. Probably the first time MSU athletes have signed for money in a while in school.
Probably since the Perlish years. No, I'm kidding. It's look, this is part of the name, image, and likeness thing. The thing I don't love about it is first of all, if you go to this, you know what you're doing. So that I like. Like, I would hate it if an athlete said to a kid who handed them a pen and a jersey, at $20, I'll do it. You know, like with adults, I have no problem with that. But if you go to this, even with your kids, you know you're paying for their autograph and you're paying to support their lives. So I have absolutely no issue with it.
But do Gabe Brown and Malik Hall not sign anywhere else? Is it that kind of deal?
No, I don't think I haven't heard that. And again, I think kids asking athletes for autographs. I would hope athletes don't stop doing that. Now, obviously, we know when there are times that
like
kids
Spartan
are used,
18770, he actually uses the autographs and keeps them down in his man cave. So I don't mind if there's adults trying to get autos. It's when you're trying to make money off the kids, right?
Right, and that's the thing. But he's got money to go to one of these things too,
right?
You know, I mean, he probably has no problem with this.
Sure.
So,
these kids have more money.
Can we get rid of Pick the fucking Stick?
It's great. I love it.
It's unbelievable. It's like talking about your own fantasy league on air. If we did,
no way. I would listen to hours upon hours of fantasy football shit before the Pick the Stick.
It's unbelievable. And they were doing it on the 500th homer one. I mean, it was like, oh God, don't do it.
And by the way, the Tigers are honoring Miggy on September 24th to sell out the stadium again. That's the only. Has nothing to do if he'll be back next year or not.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done it sooner.
I think he will be. I mean, I would be very surprised if he's not in a DH role next year.
Nick Palmer up next. Number 1, it's 2021. There has to be a way to get Dan Dickerson to do both radio and TV for broadcasts. 2, Hard Knocks is an American classic. 3, if Minnesota doesn't win at least 8 games, PJ Fleck is overrated.
Well,
Hard Knocks, I don't know. I watched the first episode. I hate the Cowboys. So.
Yeah, I don't care about it at all with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I just don't. The Dickerson simulcast, I actually think it would work with him. I mean, there's a little more play-by-play than you need on a TV broadcast. But
we can't alert people that there's a fucking tornado coming without putting something on the screen and going, oop, oop. You think we can get that shit done? No.
It's a Chris Eastlick problem.
Yeah, Eastlick, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Screwing us. Murph up next. Number 1, I've talked myself into a 9-3, 10-2 MSU football season somehow. 2, ground yellow jackets suck ass when you mow over their nest. Done that. 3, fantasy football draft tonight. Football's back.
And this he wrote these on Monday thinking we were going to have a Monday show, as most people did. And so I hope that draft went well for you Murph. If you said you've also mowed over a ground yellow jackets?
I was mowing my ex-girlfriend's yard, and I went.
Was this last week or
no? I don't have any girlfriends anymore. I'm taking man. Anyway, I just mowed over this hole, and I had boots on, and they just all swarmed into my boots.
Oh,
and
God.
It was like 50 stingers at once, and I just started going, I was like, I just ripped the shoes off and dove inside. And I got stung like 60 times.
That's awful. How did it just balloon up, or how?
Yeah. They're swollen for like 2 days.
Yeah, when I was 10, 9, 8 years old, we were up in Leland, and there was this tree we loved. It was like we played pirate ship. I don't know, like 8-year-olds are dumbasses. I don't know why we thought it was a pirate ship, but it was this great climbing tree. And my friend and I had been there several years using that tree, and all of a sudden there was I don't remember it being whether it was actually a yellow jackets, but it was in the ground. It was a hive in the ground, and it was annoying the piss out of us because there were all these bees around. So being the wise 8 or 9-year-old that I was, I just took a stick and stuck it down there.
Smart.
And then we got to play the game, who could keep the washcloths off our bee stings longer the rest of the day, because it were so much pain. And then I eventually just covered it up. That was another story presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue. What I could have used at 8 years, is it right? I think Sky Mint for 8-year-olds who have bee stings would be good.
1,000%.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Without bee stings. Just give 8-year-olds weed. Screw it. Start them early. John Freeberg up next. Number 1, Miggy is a beast. First Tiger to hit 500. Now that's a hot take. 2, SOL, Saul. Same old Lions. Another hot take. 3, Spartan Football will surprise some teams this season. 3 takes.
Thank you, John.
And I like how he'll tweet me and go, read these. I love you, Freeberg.
Yeah, no, good stuff.
3 takes.
We'll see if Michigan State surprises teams.
This does not deserve a response. Peasy up next. Number 1, Mount Rushmore of the 21st century Detroit sports, Miggy, Lidstrom, Ben Wallace, and Jason Hansen. 2, Jason may not like soccer, but I feel like he could appreciate burly British dudes like Burnley manager Sam Dyche yelling, "Oi, fucking hell," from the sidelines every 2 minutes. 3, I think the world would be a better place if it were easier for folks to have access to jet skis like rental cars. 5 minutes on the open water is really all that's needed.
It would be a better world. That's pretty awesome.
But people would ruin it.
Yeah.
There would be something that would happen. They'd get stranded out in the water and
you did that.
be banned.
You did that British accent pretty good.
Oi, fucking hell.
You could do a Yoda version like, "Hell, oi, fucking."
Takes your breath away, doesn't it? Really?
Mount Rushmore, 21st century Detroit sports, Miggy, Lidstrom, Ben Wallace, Jason Hansen. I would go Chauncey over Ben. I would go Miggy, certainly. And who am I missing with you got to put Stafford. Do you put Stafford there? You put Stafford there. 21st century, right?
No? Over Jason Hansen, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
Put golf up there. Professor up next. Number 1, August weddings with a tux should be banned, especially if outdoors. 2, Miggy's 500th was a great moment, but it lacked gravitas by not being in Detroit, but props to Toronto fans for the curtain call. 3, Dan Campbell gives the Lions a good shot of being the Hard Knocks team in 2022.
See, that I would watch. But you don't want
listening back to a podcast. Just be like white knuckling that.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
What's he going to say? Oh, he's going to drink a pot of coffee and pour it on someone's head. All right.
August weddings in a tux. You done one? Or summer weddings? Yeah.
Not with a tux.
There was one in 2005. I'm in St. Louis, and there was almost like a greenhouse where the wedding was, and there was no. It was like 95 degrees, and I hadn't fully discovered the sweat towel yet, and thankfully I was a little younger, but I think I was actually not in great shape at the moment. And
I'd rather do that than when someone schedules it on a football Saturday or Sunday where there's a big game like a Michigan game, Michigan State.
Actually, my wedding was August in a tux. What the fuck am I talking about? August 27th, 5 years ago. By the way, this Friday is my 5-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
No, she's done it. Grob up next. Number 1, if Miggy did not play at Comerica National Park, he would have 600 home runs at least. 2, Lions are going to miss Stafford much more than they think. 3, a brilliant plan, evacuate the military before U.S. citizens and those that help the USA. Not.
Yeah, it has not appeared to work as well as you'd hope over in Afghanistan. Will they miss Stafford? Like this year, if Stafford's lighting it up, if the Lions they weren't going to be very good anyway, but say they're a 4-13 team that just struggles on offense, and Stafford's playing like MVP levels with the Rams, how much are you going to miss him?
I miss him already, just for the simple fact that we have to root for Goff, and if Goff somehow surprises people and makes it to the playoffs and wins a playoff game, everybody, including Rico Beard, will be like, "Oh yeah, see, Stafford, Stafford was garbage." So it puts us in a terrible position. And thank you, Brad Holmes, for trading for Jared Goff. So this Lions season, I talked to my buddy this morning. He's a diehard like me, and he's just like, this season is just different for me. I mean, it's not as exciting as other seasons.
Here's what's cool though: is Stafford becomes the Justin Verlander. And for me, I think I'm going to be able to enjoy watching him with the Rams, hoping he does well, hoping that is because it wasn't going to happen in Detroit. It's not like, oh, if he wins a Super Bowl, that if he had just stayed in Detroit, it wasn't going to happen in Detroit. So if he goes there and he has great success, I will be able to enjoy that for him and revel in it.
Yeah, I guess. John Crager up next. Number one, my sister said she put pumpkin spice creamer into her coffee this weekend. I said, it's not even September. For fuck's sakes, let summer be summer. 2, people really don't understand the concept of lane shifts, and it's frightening. You still stay in the lane you are in. You do not jump ship and cut me off, assholes. I like John. 3, regardless of political affiliations, the fact that a journalist got indicted over the weekend and has to turn himself in on Monday for simply being on the steps of the Capitol on January 6th should frighten the hell out of everyone. This is not okay.
I've not read this story.
I've not seen it as well.
So he was just on the steps covering it, or he was on the steps as somebody who is off duty and part of the insurrection. He's on the steps covering it. That's not okay. It's not okay at all. It's definitely not okay. It's not okay either way. Whichever side of this is not okay.
Pumpkin spice guy?
I like pumpkin spice. Yeah, I used to go to I like pumpkin spice. I know what he's saying about too early though. I'd like the fall. I'd like the fall to get here. It's muggy. And like
those Halloween stores opening. I'm like, what are you doing?
I used to go to a Starbucks, and there's this redhead. Oh, I shouldn't tell this story. I'll tell this some other time.
No, you're not.
You're
telling it now. Redhead, what?
Pedophile moment a little bit, but so okay. For a long time there was a Starbucks in the D&W grocery store in Kalamazoo that I used to go to, and I worked there and lived in Kalamazoo, and there was this kind of cute redhead that I would try and flirt with. I'm like 25, 26 at the time, and she always knew my drink, and if I didn't have to say it out loud, I tipped her well, or I tipped anybody well, because it was embarrassing. It was cinnamon dolce latte grande with whipped cream and sprinkles, skinny, right? You don't have to say that out loud. And since now I just drink black coffee. I've grown up. But the worst part about this story is she's this cute redhead who I'm sort of flirting with, and
she's not legal.
She's there for like, I don't know, 3 years, 2 years at least, 2 years. And then she's just gone for a while. And I'm like, whatever. People leave jobs as baristas, right? It's not necessarily your
kidnapped
career.
By another weirdo.
No, anyway. So like 9 months later, she's back. And I'm like, oh, hey, I thought you'd moved on. She goes, no, I was just away at school. I was like, oh, where do you go? I don't forget, Miami, Ohio or something like that.
Otto Middle School?
Yeah, no. And she said, I thought, well, graduate school or something like that. And she goes, oh, no, I was a freshman at Miami, which means, and she was 18, which meant I had been flirting with her for 2 years, pretty obviously, with a girl who was 15 or 16. She'd not looked that. I don't know why she was employed that young there, but it made me incredibly uncomfortable and never went back.
Did you wink at her when you put the $1 in the tip jar, Kelly?
I'm not that. Anyway, that is a story. That's not even. I'm not going to name a sponsor after that story.
I probably wouldn't. Yeah. Kevin from Rochester Hills up next. Number one, Dream Cruise is a shit show. Best part is seeing over waxed cars waiting for tow trucks. 2, Lewerke will win a Super Bowl. 3, the Lions will always suck.
Lewerke could win a Super Bowl because there are lots of MSU players you see around who are like fringe players on teams or special teamers who have won Super Bowls over time. So that could happen. Do you pay attention to the Dream Cruise stuff at all?
You know what? We were down for a birthday party in that area, and traffic was bad, and my buddy's like 18 miles from it. So I don't know. I can't imagine how congested Woodward gets.
Yeah.
Because people jump in with like a 2002 Honda Accord. That's not the bit of the Dream Cruise.
Yeah.
Eric Uzanik up next. Number one, Frank Oz does the voice of Kermit, Miss Piggy, and of course Yoda, but someone else wrote the inverted Yoda talk, so feel bad, do not, Graham.
Not I do. I did not. Okay, keep going.
2, luck is just shorthand for not being able to comprehend how unlikely something is after it happens. And 3, football's back.
No, I think he put
Football's back.
football back. It is. Thank you, Eric.
Do we move on? Or?
Yeah, I mean, they're good. Do you want me to do more Yoda, or do we move on?
Do you want to?
No. Jason, do you think that Bill Beekman?
It's my favorite. Mr. Neurotic Pants up next. Number 1, East Lansing, with its skyscraping luxury apartments and myriad of chain stores and restaurants, is no longer my East Lansing. Tall buildings make Grandpa nervous. 2, I just want to make a $20 bet with a friend about which team will win or lose. I don't speak the language of sprinkles, over-unders, parlays, etc. I don't understand any of it. All right. 3, okay, Tucker can recruit. Tucker can vamp. At Northwestern, I want to see if he's a field general and play caller.
The thing about this Michigan State-Northwestern game that I think is perfect for Michigan State is Northwestern is a great benchmark team. They're not Ohio State. You're not going to get run off the field. But even when don't have good seasons, they're not really a horrible team. Their talent's never really that much different. It's a good measuring stick game. How you do against Northwestern sort of says where you are as a program and everything else, and you get to see it. I think this is an interesting game. To the point, and at some point, we do have a lot of people who don't gamble who listen, and at some point we probably ought to explain some of the things again. We've done a couple of those shows throughout time, but like a parlay is just, that means multiple games. You're betting 2 or 3 or more games together, and you've got to win all of them to win. And if you do, it pays out a lot more because the odds are less because you're betting multiple games. That's a parlay. Over-under, it's just simple. The over-under is like it can be in a particular game, the number of runs or points scored, under or over that. In season wins, under or over that number of seasons of wins. And sprinkle is just us, and that's goes back to our days with Chris Abbott on the show. That just means putting a little bit of money on something. I'm put a little bit of money on this. You're not putting your usual unit amount on something.
Sprinkles means what a creep asks for at Starbucks to a 16-year-old.
That's that too.
But if you want to bet $20, you got to have. But there's going to be obviously a favorite and a underdog. So if you're betting 20, that's what Rico always did to me. He wanted to do a straight up bet, and I'm like, they're 8.5-point underdogs. Yep. Why would I do a straight up bet? Yep. Jason Akins up next. Number 1, cheers to my daughter for making her first start for varsity girls soccer only as a sophomore.
Nice.
Stay away, Graham. 2, Canton, Ohio's first player is under construction, but OMG, the parking lot they're building is too small. #apocalypse. #Thunderdome. 3, eating lasagna on a hot afternoon was a bad choice.
It always makes me, when I hear that, it makes me think of that episode of The Office where Steve Carell carb loads, Michael Scott carb loads before the 5K, and he used like pasta primavera, whatever it was, like seconds before he runs the 5K, and they can't.
Never seen it.
No, it's a very good episode.
Would you still eat lasagna like outside right now?
No.
That's a lie. Hans Jurgen up next. Number 1, ESPN has become a Stephen A. channel. That's not good. 2, what's the upside to Russo? We are not one quarterback away from the Rose Bowl like Wisconsin when they got Russell Wilson. This program is rebuilding. 3, Breyer's peach ice cream is perfect for August. Enjoy.
That does sound good. The upside to Russo, and here's the argument for if all things are even, is if you give it, if say Thorne wins the job and has a big year like Connor Cook did, and obviously that's good for the program, but you've got a lot of other quarterbacks underneath him who may think that guy then he's a redshirt sophomore, 2 years beyond that. When am I going to play? Am I out of here? And you may want, if Russo wins the job this year, then Thorne and Noah Kim and Hamp Fay and whoever else is in, Caton Hauser, they can all compete for the job a year from now. So that the argument to that is you've got a one-year guy, and it allows the open competition a year from now to be easier to do. That would be the argument for.
Next one from Hans Jurgen. Number 1, the new Jeopardy host was removed because of comments on a podcast. Are you scrubbing couch in the Rube, Graham? This episode. 2, upset by the fall of Kabul. Over 5,000 Americans died of COVID last week. 500 died in gun violence. 0 died in the evacuation of Kabul.
Kabul?
I think it's Kabul. Kabul? 3, preseason NFL. So unsatisfying. And bonus hot take. What, do you win a contest? How many takes does he get? Number 1, the old Spartan Adam Gase was the offensive coordinator of the 2013 Denver Broncos when they broke the NFL record for most points in a season at 606, which is still the record. He is now the offensive coordinator of Ypsilanti High School. Something ain't right here.
Is he really? Adam Gase?
I didn't hear that. I believe Hans.
Yeah, I believe Hans.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do not scrub this. I hope nobody ever listens. I mean, the whole deal with this show is that my wife can never listen. That's the premise of the show.
Mm-hmm. Jake Hawkins up next. Number 1, congrats to Miguel Cabrera on hitting number 500 Sunday, and way to pull off the win. How the hell does a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. mess up and commit an error that ultimately costs his team the game? 2, what the hell is going on with Jeopardy? I thought Mayim Bialik was the best guest host.
She's getting another shot, too.
Mayim Bialiaks.
No.
I think the game show should continue with guest host. Here's some ideas I have in mind. Will Wheaton, Tom Selleck, Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann, Van Jones, Jim Parsons, and Al Michaels.
Jake, you should be in charge. I do like, and it wasn't Guerrero who messed it up, right? It was the throw. Maybe it was Guerrero. I turned away. I did not see the actual mess up that kept that game continuing.
I hope Al Michaels, when he retires, goes to Vegas like Musburger did.
Yeah,
that'd be a great show, Michaels and Musburger.
I'd listen.
Yeah, Upper Deck Jerk Guy.
Because they would get inappropriate about old war stories, so to speak.
Absolutely. That's why I'd watch. Upper Deck Jerk Guy, final 3 here. Number 1, the Lions will set a record for flags this year. 2, Facebook and the lesser effect of other social media are the barbarians at the gate. 3, we aren't seeing enough name, image, and likeness for Spartan athletes.
Well, they just don't report it all. I mean, and I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you want there, but I guess it is about perception, right? Are athletes making money at your school? And so at a certain point, that does matter. I don't know what is enough and what we're supposed to be seeing. It's all very, very new at this point. The Lions set a record for flags again this year. It won't matter to me because this year is a rebuilding year. There are a few things I want to see. I want to see young receivers, young running backs. But they've got a pretty good young running back right now. Would you sit him this year so he doesn't get tread on the tires?
Who's that?
What's his name? Who's the
DeAndre Swift?
Swift, yeah.
Well, he's already hurt, so I guess he's got to sit out sometime.
I just sit him out the whole year. You don't waste him in a year. Don't have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Never waste time with a running back. Did that with Barry Sanders for way too long. Appreciate all of your hot takes and your patience with our dumpster scenario and making sure this show wasn't a dumpster fire. Thank you to Skymint and skymint.com and 3 locations. I just stumbled through this. I hope they don't listen to the end of this.
We love everybody.
Cheers, Michael Patrick.
I'm Tony Cuthbert with your Spotlight Sports Update. The Tigers continue a 5-game road trip with the first of a 2